You may recall he lied and said he did not know the Guptas, had nothing to do with the Guptas, thought about it for a while, realized he was going to be caught out, admitted he did know the Guptas, he lied to Parliament, and he promptly resigned. He fell on his own sword. Now, that is something one would expect someone of his level to do as a minister. Then, of course, we had Tony Yengeni. He lied to Parliament, he defrauded Parliament, he ended up receiving a 4-year jail sentence. Of course, as is the tradition, he only served 4 months. That seems to be the case with most people convicted via the ANC these days. But he, in fact, had been found guilty of lying to Parliament. So lying to Parliament is a major criminal offence. I can't stress how egregious it is. And so this minister must now face what's coming to him. Obviously, a criminal investigation has to take place. We hand it over to the professionals, but there is precedent, and he has a big problem to face. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, colleagues. I'm going to just open up to take questions. Are the very same members that are going to be serving in the portfolio committees in Parliament that are going to be doing the inquiry on these allegations that have been made by the Provincial Police Commissioner in KZN. So I'm going to start with you, and then I'll take you. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Good morning, Paul Bekiota from Bloomberg. Your action today, will this add more strain to the Government of National Unity and the DA's participation in its
Look, let's put it this way. It's important for us to take action against any form of criminality or corruption. No one is above the law. Like I indicated in the beginning, the reason why we joined government to begin with is to make sure that we root out corruption. We've got upstanding ministers and public representatives that are going to represent South Africa. And if somebody is found of wrongdoing or criminality, we must take action, regardless of whether we're in government of national unity or not. There's a minister here that has deliberately lied to Parliament and misled Parliament, meaning that he's committed an act of fraud. So nobody's above the law, despite the fact that we're in government of national unity with them. Ultimately, it becomes our responsibility to make sure that we hold each other accountable for the people of South Africa, because they expect us to hold each other accountable. Because ultimately, if we don't, the people that suffer are the people that are killed every day, the criminals that run rampant in our streets, while people fight at the top and are corrupt and defraud and lie. It's the South Africans that actually suffer, losing our family members, every day, people being traumatized through rape and other things. We need to be serious about crime. We must also be serious about our accountability, so that we've got upstanding ministers that serve in government. And those that don't do that must take action. Despite of whether it's the president's comrades or not, it's important for us to take that action. So for us, that's what this is all about, rather than trying to keep some peace at the expense of people actually being criminal in government.
Babalo from EWN, there's a parallel process happening in Parliament, as you've mentioned, the inquiry involving 3 different committees. Your members are part of those committees. Will this add any value to that? Is this not preemptive? Will this process you're pursuing now add value to the inquiry in Parliament? And just quickly for the joint intelligence, how will the nature of the discussions in that confidential setting be like in this instance?
Okay, let me assist you there. Obviously, I served on police for many years, but Lisa, my colleague here, will be sitting on that committee. I am an alternate on police, as is Glynis Breitenbach. So we will all be represented on that committee, which is a joint committee between justice and police. So that's an open sitting. In the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence, it's obviously behind closed doors. We hear most sensitive information, but we have asked to investigate any and all links to intelligence throughout. You know of these arrests in crime intelligence recently. So everything is very hot right now and moving at a huge pace. So yes, we will do the investigation as tasked. They're busy dividing up who should do what. And I'm presuming that a report from us will go to the Speaker. Whether or not it's released to the public will have to be determined. But usually our sittings are all in camera.
So right now?
Well, things are happening. People are being arrested. Movements are you can feel the shifts in Parliament. So number one, to have 7 people in crime intelligence arrested is a first. It's just not happened before. Any criminality has been shoved under the carpet and hidden away as best those in power could do. Suddenly, people are actually being held to account. So it's an extraordinary situation currently, and I would be the least surprised to hear there are many more arrests to come.
So just also answer your first question. There's 2 separate things here. The fact of the matter is that the Minister of Police has lied to Parliament. So already he's defrauded Parliament, so he's acted in a manner as a criminal. So that's why we're laying the criminal charges today. The process to investigate the allegations that are made by the Provincial Commissioner through the inquiries that are going to happen in these 3 committees will then determine the veracity of what is being put there and make sure that every single individual that is alleged to be involved in this criminal syndicate of the capture of SAPS forms part of those committees. But here there's a clear violation. That's why we're laying criminal charges. The minister came in March. He said, I don't know Mr. Brown Mkhotsi, who's a businessman linked to this criminal syndicate. And later on the 9th of July, said, well, this is my comrade. So that's definitely lying to Parliament and misleading Parliament. So we have to take action on that because it's a clear violation, it's a breaking the law, and ultimately it's a criminal act. The allegations that are laid beyond that will be investigated by this particular 3 committees, will then take its course. We've got our members there that will ask questions with vigor to whoever needs to be held accountable so that we can get to the bottom of what exactly is going on in that particular entity.
If I may add, is that everybody that is implicated in these allegations will be called in front of Parliament. They will be called to come and give their account of events. And we will make sure that anybody that is found guilty or that makes themselves guilty of these allegations must face the full might of the law. Because South Africans deserve a South Africa and a Parliament and a police services that works for them, that is not filled with corruption, that is not protecting criminals, but that is protecting normal citizens in South Africa.
Okay, so the DA has been here many times before. Do you maybe have a number of criminal charges or cases that you have laid by the police? And also, what has happened to those cases? I mean, you were here just a week ago, and what has happened? I mean, do you see any movement? And also, what are you hoping will happen with Minister? Do you want him to get fired? Do you want him to be arrested? What is it that you want?
So let me put it this way. We were here 9 days ago. And after we were here, the Hawks investigated Minister Nkabane. In fact, this morning at 11 o'clock, we're actually meeting with the Hawks to give information about Minister Nkabane. We were here before on Minister Simelane, and that case was transferred because it happened in Mpumalanga, and action was taken on Minister Simelane. So when we do open these criminal cases, we actually keep track and follow up on them, because ultimately we need to hold people accountable. But the difference was before that people had a majority and can protect their own, and ultimately could not hold people accountable. That's not going to happen under our watch. That is precisely why we joined government. What we want is people to be held accountable. And if somebody lied to Parliament, that is a criminal offence. They must be held accountable by leaving government. The president must take action. The president cannot be quiet when there's a massive crisis like this. Like I said, he landed on Tuesday. Everybody's asking, where's the president? Why is he saying nothing? Why is he not acting on people that are defrauding Parliament and lying to Parliament? He must act with the same vigor that he intended to act in fighting corruption, to make sure that our state-owned run entities and ultimately the departments actually live up to the standards that they need to live up on. He can't be silent. He was silent when Nkabane did nothing. She lied to Parliament. Very clear. There's things that have come out. 2 more members of that panel saying that they were not part of that. So what is it stopping the president from acting to make sure that people are held accountable? That's what South Africans expect from ministers. That's what we want to happen, so that we can have people that are capable in that particular government to make sure that they deliver for them.
My second question is, you spoke about capture within SAPS. So now, are you not maybe afraid that might happen with these cases also, or maybe particularly this case?
Look, that is precisely why we need to test our own criminal justice system. That's why we're taking this full inquiry in Parliament, so that people actually act on it. So if there are individuals that think they're not going to investigate what we actually came here on the very same police minister, it's precisely the test of our own criminal justice system to make sure that it is fair to every single individual. No one is above the law, including the Minister of Police. So we will make sure that those that try to obstruct, will hold them accountable, will subpoena them in Parliament so that action is taken against them, and ultimately we receive justice of what is required of this particular process.
Sir, just if you can just tell us what these specific charges are that the DA is pursuing against the minister, please.
So the minister broke Section 27, the Powers and Privileges Act, which is basically says that any person that comes before Parliament and lies to Parliament or misleads Parliament is committing an act of fraud. And that is basically the violation that the minister has now broken. We've got it in our affidavit. We'll obviously give you the details afterwards exactly which section and which subsection of that is. But it's Section 27. It's on the Powers and Privileges Act that whoever comes to Parliament must act with integrity, must be honest. When they're answering questions, they must answer questions truthfully. And the minister in this case did not answer questions truthfully. He lied to Parliament by saying, I don't know this individual, and later on saying, well, this is my comrade. So that is a clear violation of the Powers and Privileges Act, and ultimately Section 27, which is defrauding Parliament, and therefore that is unethical behavior. That's why there's an ethics complaint, and that is a criminal behavior because it's an act of fraud. Cool. All right. Thank you so much. I think we're going to go inside.